A bomb is about to explode at Soldier Field. The NFC North just leveled up the danger with a massive pickup in Green Bay, and Chicago is on the edge of a collapse that not even Ryan Poles can cover up. First, the deadly trap Ben Johnson is facing. With our franchise QB, he's got only one season to fix mistakes that have destroyed entire careers. Second, the offensive line has turned into Russian roulette, with a left tackle who hasn't quite gotten there on backups who have never even touched an NFL field. Third, a forbidden name inside the halls of Hallis Hall might be the only way to save our broken backfield. But we have to act right now before a rival steals him. We are one mistake away from tossing the whole season in the trash. But there's a secret plan not even the media has figured out yet. Are you really going to risk missing this info? Smash that, hit subscribe, and unload your rage in the comments. If you bleed navy and orange, you don't run from the fight. Folks, I can't believe what's happening with our new head coach. Ben Johnson came in from Detroit with a mission that feels straight up impossible. And you know why? Because this guy has to completely rebuild a relationship with our starting quarterback in just one season while facing one of the toughest divisions in the entire NFL. Let me break down why this is so brutal. The NFC North ain't a joke, people. You saw what went down, right? Green Bay just pulled off the craziest move of the offseason, landing Micah Parsons. Yeah, you heard me right. The best young pass rusher in the NFL is now in our division rival. Like Aaron Rodgers wasn't enough of a nightmare back in the day. Now they've got Parsons destroying quarterbacks. Detroit? They're still Detroit. Adding Ben Johnson himself helped build over the last 3 years. They know every play he likes to call, every offensive tendency he developed. Imagine having to go against your old employer twice a year, knowing they've got your playbook memorized. That's like playing poker with your cards face up. And Minnesota? They've always been competitive, and with all these changes in the division, you can bet they're not just sitting back. The schedule already looked like something out of a Mission Impossible script, but now with Parsons and Green Bay, it's literally an impossible mission. Here's why I'm still holding on to some optimism. After years of watching this team suffer with coordinators who had no clue what Chicago football was about, we finally have a guy who knows the recipe. Johnson spent 3 years building one of the most explosive offenses in Detroit, turning Jared Goff from a questionable QB into a Pro Bowler. And here's the wild part. At times last year, the Bears looked light years away from competing in the NFC North. But then you look at specific plays, the infamous Fail Mary, those nail-biting finishes at home against the Vikings, in Detroit, and at home against Green Bay, all while being coached by a staff that kept screwing things up. Imagine if we had competent leadership on the sidelines in those games. Eberflus and his staff blew it, but even then we were close to winning key matchups. With Johnson, we're not just talking competent, we're talking exceptional. That could be the difference. Now, let's talk Caleb Williams. This QB-coach relationship is absolutely make or break for our future. Johnson already said publicly he's impressed with how much Williams has grown since arriving. He said Williams has a flair for the dramatic, understands situations, knows when to step up in the pocket and extend plays, and is already doing a great job figuring out when to let the receivers work after the catch. That's music to my ears. Think back. When we thought Trubisky was the answer, or when Fields gave us hope only to let us down. Trubisky never really understood the game at a deep level. Fields had the athleticism, but not the consistent reads. Williams feels different. Johnson sees things in him that make me believe this time could really be different. But I've got to be real with you. The concerns are still serious. Williams still makes pre-snap mistakes that are fatal in the NFL, and once the play starts, he doesn't always see the whole field. Johnson even admitted Williams didn't benefit much from last year under Eberflus. Basically losing a whole year of proper development. That's scary. Still, history gives us a little hope. Both Fields and Trubisky improved in year 2 with new coaches. And the added bonus, Williams is working with one of the best offensive minds of the last 3 years. Johnson isn't theory. He's got proof. He turned Goff's career around. The big question, can one season be enough to build the chemistry needed to compete in a division with Parsons in Green Bay, Detroit knowing all our plays, and Minnesota always being tough? I want to believe. But in Chicago, we don't bet on probabilities. We demand certainty. And the pressure is insane. This fan base has no patience left. If Williams doesn't click fast, the weight could crush the whole thing. And if you thought the Johnson-Williams pressure was our only issue, think again. Ryan Poles just admitted something that has me flat out terrified about our offensive line, and it could wreck the whole season. Listen closely. After an entire training camp and 3 full preseason games, Ben Johnson still has no clue who's starting at left tackle compared to when the offseason began back in March. Let me repeat, months of evaluation, and we still don't know who's protecting. Caleb Williams blindside. Braxton Jones is lined up to start week 1 on Monday Night Football against Minnesota. And it's a huge but, the Bears are nowhere near naming him a permanent starter. Poles admitted it's a week-to-week situation. You know what that means? We're literally playing Russian roulette at the most important spot on the O-line. When your GM is evaluating left tackles week to week, that's not strategy. That's desperation. Poles flat out said the guys competing are all on different timelines and none of them has locked the job down. Translation: we don't have a single reliable option. Jones is still recovering from a serious ankle injury, and even before that, he struggled against elite pass rushers. His backup, Trapilo, a guy who's never taken an NFL snap. The third option? Kieran Amigaji, who missed almost all of last year's offseason after a Yale injury and hasn't faced top competition. And then there's Theo, who doesn't have the ideal build, but at least he's quick. That's not comfort when you're trying to stop Danielle Hunter or Rashawn Gary. Poles basically described our left tackle candidates as one guy who's not fully healthy, a rookie, a small school project, and a guy without the ideal body. Those are his words, not mine. That's our group. I'll be honest, this isn't just less than ideal. This is a full-blown disaster. In today's NFL, where edge rushers are freak athletes, having instability at LT is like sending your QB into battle without armor. And what makes it worse is the timing. We're days away from Minnesota, a defense that can feast on O-line weaknesses. If protection breaks early, the confidence Johnson's building with Williams could collapse fast. Here's where things get really wild, and this might be the most important story you'll hear today. While everyone's worried about the O-line and Williams' development, our backfield situation is a ticking time bomb. But there's also a genius move no one's talking about. Last week, the Bears had a practice where DeAndre Swift was literally the only healthy running back out of the entire 53-man roster. One single healthy RB. That's a nightmare scenario. Roshan Johnson is banged up worse than the team admits, rookie Kyle Monaghan is hurt, and Travis Homer just hit IR with what could be a season-ending injury. With one RB standing, this isn't about adding depth. This is emergency mode. And here's the move, Damian Martinez. This name needs to be on every Bears fan's radar. Martinez is a rookie currently on Seattle's practice squad, and his college resume is flat out impressive. He's the exact type of physical early down back we desperately need without Roshan. Martinez put up almost 1,000 rushing yards as a freshman at Oregon State, averaging over 6 yards per carry. He followed it with over 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns the next year, then transferred to Miami in 24 to face tougher competition and racked up another 1,000 yards against ACC defenses. He forced over 130 missed tackles in college. The dude creates yards when nothing's there. Seattle drafted him late, but their backfield is stacked. That's why he's sitting on the practice squad. But here's the thing. Practice squad players can sign with any team's 53-man roster. Seattle can't block it. Chicago could grab him today. And Martinez isn't just a short-term patch. He's young, cheap, durable, and fits perfectly into Ben Johnson's style. He's got the size to be a power back, but the agility to stay on the field for passing downs. He could take early down work right away, lighten Swift's load, and bring real balance to the offense. And long-term, if Roshan can't stay healthy, Martinez could straight up take that RB2 job for good. But if Poles doesn't move quick, another desperate team will. This might be the smartest under-the-radar move Chicago can make, but only if they act right now. So let me wrap this up. We've got Ben Johnson trying to pull off Mission Impossible, developing Caleb Williams in a division that just added Micah Parsons. We've got a left tackle mess that Poles himself admitted is a problem with no real solution. And we've got a golden chance to steal Damian Martinez from Seattle and fix our backfield crisis before it's too late. Any one of these situations could define the whole season. If Johnson and Williams don't click fast, if the O-line crumbles, if the run game collapses with just one back, any of those could kill playoff hopes before December even hits. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you honestly believe Johnson can work the same magic with Williams that he did with Goff in Detroit, knowing he's only got 1 year to make it happen? Do you trust Braxton Jones, a guy Poles himself said hasn't gotten there yet, to protect Williams for 17 games? Plus playoffs? And what about Martinez? Should Chicago grab him now before another team does, or risk waiting on injured backs that may not hold up? Drop your takes in the comments and tell me not just what you think, but why you think it. If you want more in-depth breakdowns and exclusive info you won't hear anywhere else about our Bears, you know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, because this family bleeds navy and orange through every win and every heartbreak. Share this with every Bears fan, because this info's too big to keep to ourselves. I'll see you in the next one with more breaking news and deep dive analysis on Chicago. Bear down always.